So then you are agreeing that girls have boobs, girls wear dresses, girls have long hair, girls wear makeup. So
I'm
you're
agreeing
just
that there is
you are
I'm no,
undermining
I'm
your
agreeing
entire
that there is a
argument,
societal
undermining the
expectation.
entire argument by
No,
saying,
no, I'm
yes,
are
actually
you
a girl is
listening to
just
what
this
I'm
set of
saying? Wait, hold on. Are
stereotypes.
you listening to my position? Because what I
Yes,
said
you're
is that
trying. I get you're saying
there is
it's
a
useful.
societal expectation.
Yes.
There is an orbit of expectations, perspectives, judgments that you open yourself up to. I am admitting that, yes, there is a societal expectation. Whether consciously or subconsciously, when we think of a girl, there are things that as a society we think of. We think of things like dresses, like boobs, like makeup. And in that alone, there is utility in the words boys and girls. That is my argument. That is the utility, is the fact that we all do that. Is that when you close your eyes and you think boy, you think one thing. When you close your eyes and you think girl, you think another thing. That doesn't make boy and girl that, but it opens boys and girls up to those expectations and judgments.
Right. But what
Do you
I'm
think
saying,
do you think you're judged by the same standard that a girl is, and just not in terms of like, like I'm not talking from like, I don't know, like a theological standpoint or whatever, but like a high school, like how kids would look and like be judgmental. Do you think that like guys are like judged over the same thing that girls are?
I mean, it just depends on the type of guy.
No,
Like
it's
if you
like, oh, he's not strong or he's this and
No,
that. And
I
girls,
mean
it's
if
like,
you're gay, if you're a twink, then they expect you to be gay and a twink. Like it just depends on what type of guy you are. If you're black, then they might expect you to listen to rap and do whatever type of stuff. They might be way off, like they would be with me. But
right. And
it
those
just
would be
depends on
different.
what
And
type
those
of.
would be different than that of girls.
Well, I mean, some there would be overlap depending on what. Like I said, depending on the guy or the girl.
There would
Like
be some
it used to
minimal
be,
overlap, maybe.
for
But
instance.
the point I'm making is that the utility in these existing is the fact that inherently there are expectations that are different, just inherently in society. That's
So let
just
me ask you this:
sociologically true.
so you would agree it's essentially all illogical and not and made up essentially at that point.
I
We're
agree
just
that
pretending. We're
gender
just
is a
playing
social.
pretend at that
I
point.
agree that gender is a social construct, like
No, I mean
politics,
like
like
the
money,
utility. You're
like
just
religion.
you're saying the word boy actually means nothing, but I'm going to use it anyways for
No,
utility.
the word boy, like any word. Wait, hold on. Wait, no, like any word.
What does boy mean? What
Boy
does boy
means
mean?
what people are prescribing it to.
What's it mean?
What would I think it would mean?
What does it mean? Just what
I
does
would think
boy
it would
mean?
be somebody who is opening up themselves up to the orbit of expectation, perceptions, or judgments that are typically applied to male children. Also, where their personal schema, like their phenotypical traits, line up with that are typically embraced by male children. That is what I would
What
probably
is that last part? Skina, what the I don't know what that is.
they're the way they view themselves. I want to just because let's say society views a girl some way, right? And you can line up with all of those judgments or expectations. If you don't personally see yourself as opened up to those, then I wouldn't say you're trans. Like I wouldn't say a girly guy. People call me feminine, but I don't think that makes me a girl because I see myself as a boy, essentially.
Okay, so you're saying a could you recap the beginning part of what you just said a boy was? You're saying it's somebody who aligns themselves with the list
Somebody
of.
who's opened up to that orbit of expectations, whether they
Okay, and so
outright,
what would you say if I say that list doesn't exist?
if that list doesn't exist, I mean,
If I said it doesn't exist,
I
like
would
I
say
say there is no
sociologically,
traits that I
yeah,
associate with men or women beyond penis and vagina. Other than that, I'm not arrogant,
it's not on it's not,
sexist, or stupid enough to assume
yeah,
that
yeah,
this
we're
girl
talking,
likes ponies.
yeah.
I don't know what the
No,
she
I get
likes.
that, but I'm talking on a sociological sense, not a psychological sense. So the individual doesn't matter, it's society. In society, there are these expectations, there are these norms, there are these abnormalities that are applied on a sociological, so a societal level.
Okay, so let me
And
ask you a further question on that then. I think
And
Gen
wait, hold on. To
Z.
clarify quick before you ask, in a society where those didn't exist, I don't think gender would exist. But yeah, you can go on and ask.
Okay, so it seems like we agree, but we think we're at different points in society then. Because to me, other than like baby boomers, maybe I don't know if anybody, nah, people from the silent generation, not the silent generation. There was one in between those, right? Um, our grandparents' age, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then maybe some 60s, 50s. People below that, me personally, I don't think most of them, they might have like some preconceived, but I think the second that they were like, oh, that guy has black nail polish, they would be like, oh, that's unique, move on with their lives. I don't think people have this girls are pink, guys are blue. I don't think that that is really
People
as
do.
prevalent in
And it's not that
society
simple, but
as it
it's
used to
like, it could
be.
be as simple
And
as
I
like
think in 50
women.
years, it'll be gone.
It's not that, it could be as simple as women are seen as caregivers, right? Where a guy not working and letting his wife provide for him could be seen as like, lazy or inept, right? A woman not working with a man providing for her is seen as almost traditional, right? Like there's different expectations just in your roles, not even just what you're going to wear or what you're going to say, like down. And these are just inherent in society.
Okay, so let me clarify. I think it depends on which camp you're in. And so I'm arguing more internal critique. If we go with the progressive way of things, then
Mhm.
gender does not exist.
No,
That's
it
kind of
doesn't
my
exist.
argument.
That's the point. But the utility is
Okay.
in that we live in a society where these
He
expectations
said the
exist.
thing. Sorry, you said we live in a society.
Yeah.
Well, what I mean is, if we are like, okay, let's go along with everything that you guys are saying, gender is just a construct of yada, yada, yada.
Yes.
And then I would say, but wait, and I would draw my little Venn diagram and I say, wait, this circle's empty. This circle's empty. And then the logic of the entire thing collapses in my brain as being nonsense because then
There's
I'm
not,
like,
and I think the Blair White
the,
example is the most prescient. I think as long as we live in a society where me and you could be in a bar and I could say, my friend just walked in the bar, she is over there, and it will be easier for you to find her saying she than he. I think that gender has utility. I think that is the utility of gender, is in that situation right there shows the utility of gender.
But
It's communication.
all you're saying in there is there's a person by the door who looks like they should
Yes.
have boobs, should
Yes.
have a vagina,
Yes. You get
should
it.
have all of
You
these
get
things,
it. You
which is just,
understand.
but then you're just conceding that we're correct.
You
That's what a
understand.
woman, that's what a she is.
No,
And
no,
she's just,
because no,
and Blair
because
is
for
just
me,
pretending to be that.
no, because
I
for
mean,
you
yes.
guys, no, hold on, no, because for you guys, when you say that, you're meaning female. You mean girl and female is the same. Where I would end it at girl, I would say it's the societal expectation of a female, not a female themselves. So that's the difference. For you, girl and female is the same. For me, it's not. That's the difference. We agree on girl. That is what a girl is supposed to be, right? That is what a girl is expected to be. We don't agree that it's what a female is supposed to be.
Wait, I mean, we agree that it's a female. Wait, now I'm lost.
I agree
We
that
do agree
the
that that's a
the
female.
the the
It's supposed to
expectation,
be
like
like
I don't
that.
think a girl like for instance, you said boobs, right? I don't think if a girl is born flat chested, she's not a female because
Yeah,
females
I
have
mean,
to have boobs.
she still has them. They're just flat.
Well, yeah, but we said a long list of things. That was
Sure,
the
sure.
one I
Easiest one.
remember. Yeah, but for
Yeah.
you, you mean you're saying girl to say female, and I'm not. That's the biggest thing. For me, girl has a meaning that is entirely sociological in terms of when I'm talking about girl, I'm talking about what a society thinks of a child female, pretty much. The
I guess the
identity.
confusing thing to me is for me, and I know you're not going to believe me, but a lot of people on my side, we are so far past that that now we're going
No, you're
backwards and
not.
I know you don't agree, but I'm
Yeah.
like me, I can only speak for the people in my circle, but we are at the point, and I've always been at the point, like high school, junior high, like I've never thought your interests aligns or has to be any particular way because of what's in your pants. I've
See,
never thought that. And
maybe
I personally don't think most people have thought that in Gen Alpha and Gen Z.
no,
I
plenty
don't
of
think
people
that
have.
that's really the way people think. And so
So
now you're
Daily
saying
Wire
actually
having a career is
now
my
I think
point
you're
one of
telling
evidence.
me
Charlie
I
Kirk
have to
having a career.
backslide and backtrack and now I need to make in my mind that women need to be this way when I
Yes.
wasn't that way.
And
And so now
Charlie
I'm
Kirk
having to
and Charlie Kirk having a career is point two of my
But
evidence.
is that what you
Charlie
want
Kirk,
for people like me? You
what?
want us to regress in our thought process? Now actually girls must wear dresses, must be like this, and that's what a girl is.
I
Now
think
I'm
that
being
if
archaic.
I think that if trans people existing makes you think that, then that's more telling of you than like people
Wait, what do
defending
you
trans
mean?
people.
You're saying it. You're saying that girl means wears dresses, has makeup, does
Well,
this,
I'm not
does
saying it
that.
means exactly that. I'm saying right
Well,
now, these are
sure.
some expectations that society places on girls in the same way that, like, cool, for instance, right? When we said cool 50 years ago, it was fucking biker guys, the greasers. Now, when we say cool, it's like the fucking sports kids and shit. Like, this language evolves, especially when we're talking social constructs. And for me, that's all I mean when I'm saying girl. And yeah, no, I definitely think what you're saying is good. And I wish if there was more conservatives who didn't care, I would like that. But then you have people like Charlie Kirk who are like repeal the 19th Amendment and this and this. And I think that in that alone, you have like plenty of conservatives who would look at, and I know maybe conservatives won't agree with me, but liberals and lefties will, that there's plenty of conservatives who, if they saw a man who was a stay-at-home dad whose wife was the breadwinner, that they would think something of that guy, something negatively of him, whether it's lazy or
I
inept
agree, but
or
I think polling American society at large, you'd have like 30% who are like that, and the 70% would all shit on that guy. Or sorry,
sure.
shit on the person shitting on the guy.
I would hope that would be true. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I live in a very conservative place. I could see that being true. I think there's probably more liberal people than conservative people in
I
America.
think it's like 51-49 now, percent
Yeah,
wise. In your
liberals or
direction,
conservatives.
liberals. I think there's
Yeah.
a slight majority now.
So I
But
could see that, yeah, but I just think for me, it's not even a majority thing. I think as long as that exists, there's utility. I think there's also just utility in like the Blair White example. There's just in the fact that innately,
okay, we got to wrap this up. But I want to ask a question then.
yeah,
When I was talking about mental health, from my perspective, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you would agree with what I want, which is if you are the person who is like, I identify more with a girl, ideally, we as a society would get to a point where there isn't like that's the part that is a struggle for me because like I said I wore pink glasses, like prescription pink glasses, like big old frames. I was in a metal band and we wore leggings all the time. My ears are pierced. Like I don't care. And when we when people say I feel like I was born the wrong gender or I was born the wrong sex or whatever, and they feel like they should be the other one,
mhm.
then to me they are like clutching and holding on to these archaic ideas of what a man and a woman is. Whereas there is no such thing as feeling like a woman
Yeah.
because there is nothing. Like I said, the box is empty.
Mhm.
If you feel like a person, you can be a man or a woman. And that's why it doesn't make any sense to me because then you're just saying, I just want to be X stereotype. And so it feels like a step backwards where we should be saying, no, work through this and learn to be comfortable in your body because your body has no bearing on any of your
Yeah.
tastes, interests,
Mhm.
clothing choices, music choices. None of that has anything to do with what's in your pants. That seems like the more appropriate route than, well, let's just chop them off then and let's just get you to look like the like why? Because
Well,
it,
because of how society is structured, girls still go in one bathroom, guys go in the other bathroom, girls play one sport, guys play the other. You go on commercials, you got
right, but we're in the advocation stage. We're trying to make it more acceptable for trans.
right.
So instead of that, why don't we make it what we're talking about right now? Let's all get together and abolish gender. Let's work on that and drop the trans thing. That's what I would say.
Because in the interim, that people should be comfortable, I think. I'm for
But there
abolishing
will be
gender.
no interim because there will be no point to get to it
Yeah,
at
I
that
just
point.
don't think that's pragmatic, right? For me, is like when you have to think of like it's like a step-by-step battle to get anything done in America. And I just think that the idea that we would go from gender to genderless, like people right now are like, there's even liberals who throw up at the idea of gender neutral bathrooms, even though that there's plenty of states that have them. It's
Well,
around the
I'm not
world,
saying
plenty of countries.
sexless. I'm saying genderless.
Yeah,
Very
well,
different.
bathrooms are gendered, right? And
Well, I yeah, I can't answer that because
personally, like for me, if we were in a world where sports, bathrooms, things weren't gendered, there weren't expectations. I'm fine with, yeah, like who cares? Right. And I don't think there would be pressures for puberty blockers, hormone therapy, these things, if those expectations didn't exist.
And I think, again, we got to wrap it up pretty soon here. I think if you, if one of the pollsters or whatever went door to door to tell the conservatives and said, we can stop every single transition from happening
Mm-hmm.
if you just change your mind to say guys can do literally and then list anything that's girly and girls can do this. And if we all agree to this, it will stop. Every single conservative would be on board
No way,
because we
there's
care
a
way more about
there's
people
fights over trans sports
mutilating
right
their.
now.
Well, again, I think we're not on the same. I'm not talking about. There's no separation between. I hate to use male and female, but males and females. I'm just saying. Oh, that guy's wearing a dress. Who cares? That type of attitude change in everyone is super feasible in my mind.
I agree. And yeah, we can wrap it up. Maybe this will be a debate for another time, but it's the roles will still be separate. When society's structured in a separate way, again, men go in one bathroom, girls go in one, men play one sport, girls play the other.
But that's about
Men work
that's
40
way
weeks.
more. The
girls
bathroom's
care
way
for
more
house-
about sex, though. The other stuff is more gendered, sure, but the bathroom is clearly more about you have a penis versus a vagina. That's a little bit more.
No, no, I
I
don't
mean, it
know.
is.
What? No.
I mean,
It's completely societal, right? Like in nature,
would-
it's not like men and women go and like pee in different places. Like it's completely societal around gender. The fact that we differ the male and females like that.
my assumption, honestly, I don't know when it started or why it started, but my assumption is literally just for assault reasons
Yeah, but assault is
or
actually
embarrassment
lower.
reasons.
Assault is lower
Embarrassment
in
reasons,
gender neutral
maybe.
bathrooms. But yeah, no, we will debate this on another day, I'm sure. Guys, every Wednesday, 12 p.m. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe like always. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Peace.
Peace.
See you, Swa.
Yeah, can you send me this one? I
Yes,
want to
sir.
clip out some of this debate for my. It's more on brand for my shit. So
Yes, sir. I got you.